Eileen's got a special. It's the 75th Sunday. 75th. Let's remember, I'll say something.
Okay.
Couldn't go the anniversary bit. We'll say something. Good, thank you.
Okay. 1, 2.
Good Shabbos. Good Shabbos. Shabbat Shalom, fellow Bethomnics. Cantor and I are delighted to welcome all of you this evening to our sizzling Kabbalat Shabbat service. On your behalf, we want to thank our fellow Bethomnics and visitors who are with us on live stream as well. God bless all of you. Stay cool, but thank you for being with us. We very much appreciate your online support. And without further ado, we invite you to turn to page 8. So before we join with Cantor, let's meditate upon these words on page 8 with which to begin our Kabbalat Shabbat service. We begin with a prayer of hodaya, of gratitude, for all that is holy in our lives. God needs no words, no English or Hebrew, no semantics and no services. But we need them. Through prayer, we can sense our inner strength, our inner purpose, our inner joy, our capacity to love. As we reach upward in prayer, we sense these qualities in our Creator. Together, to love God is to love each other, to work to make our lives better. To love God is to love the world that God created and to work to perfect it. To love God is to love dreams of peace and joy that illumine all of us and to bring that vision to life.
So the words are, you have the words. It's our Lechuna Ranana. I'm going to try to teach it to you until you really know it by September, so we can make it a wonderful addition to our repertoire, Lechuna Ranana, and then we'll move into the Shirul Adonai. Please join with me. Lechuna Ranana, L'tzor yeshaynu, let us sing unto God, the maker of all, sure and strong. Let all of creation, from mount to the sea, hear our song. L'chuna rana, l'chuna. L'tzor yeshaynu, for all of the wonder and all of God's light, we rejoice. So now let us hear with all of our might, hear God's song and voice. Naharia, Latzor Yishayno, Shiro, 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 Shir Kadash, Shiro Ladonai, Kol Haaretz, Shiro Ladonai, Shiro Shir Kadash, Shiro Ladonai, Kol Haaretz, Shiro Ladonai, Baruch Hu Shemo, Wasrumi Miyom Leyom Yeshuato, Shiro Ladonai, Baruch Hu Shemo, Wasrumi Leyom Yeshuato, Ya la 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 la, Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la.
Lachuna Ranana and Shiru Ladonai. Please greet one another, if you would, at this time with a very hearty Shabbat Shalom and a good Shabbos.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Now, Betham, let's do this together. Let's look around at the camera. Wave, please, if you would, to all of our fellow Bethamniks at home. Shabbat Shalom to each and every one of you. Haddakat Nerot LeShabbat, for the kindling of our Shabbat candles. It is our great pleasure, Brucha Haba'ah, to welcome back our beloved fellow Bethamnik and dear friend, Bridget Dorfman. You'll be hearing from Bridget a little later this evening. We ask you, if you're able to, please rise at this time. We're on page 3.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lechat lekner shel Shabbat.
Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat.
Amen.
Please be seated. Thank you to Bridget, and we invite you to join with Cantor, our beloved Erev Shabbat anthem L'Chadodi, pages 20 and 21.
L'Chadodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekapela. 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 Shamore v'zachore v'dibor echad, Hishmiganu el kam yuchad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad, L'Shem u'tiferet ve'al tira. L'Chadodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekapela. L'Chadodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekapela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelecha, ki yimekor kaberacha, ve'rosh מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לך דודי, לך דודי לקראת קהלה, בני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת קהלה, בני שבת נקבלה. התעוררי, כברך קומי, אורי, שרדה ביתי, לכבוד אדוני עלי גדולה. לך דודי לקראת קהלה, בני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת קהלה, בני שבת נקבלה. בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה בעצולה, תקרמני עם סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה. לך דודי לקראת קהלה, בני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת קהלה, בני שבת נקבלה.
Page 24. With great joy, Basimcha, we welcome once again God's Malachei Hasharet, ministering angels. May they provide each and every one of us with at least the next 25 hours, the Neshama Yatera, the additional soul that is our merit over Shabbat. Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Bi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Bachem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seitchem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Yitkadal v'yitkadash meraba.
Amen.
Yalmati v'rakiruti v'yamlich malchuti. B'chayachon v'chon v'chaydu kol beit Yisrael. Bagalya, ובזמן קריב ויאמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבם מבורך לעולם עולמי עלמיה. יתברך, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשו
בריחו
לחיילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתו תושבחתו ונחמתו דמירן בעלמו ויאמרו יללי 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 Ya la la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la. Baruch hu et Adonai, Chamevorach, Baruch Adonai Chamevorach, Le'olam va'ed, Le'olam, 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 Le'olam va'ed. Ya la la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bitvaro ma'ariv aravim, b'chochma poteach sha'arim, ובתבונה משנה עתים, ומחליף את הזמנים, ומסדר את הכוכבים, במשמרותיהם ברקיע כרצונו. בורא יום ולילה, גולל אור מפני חושך, וחושך מפני אור. ומעביר יום ומביא לילה, ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה. אדוני צבאות שמו, אל חי וקיים, תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני, המעריב ערבים. אהבת עולם, בית ישראל עמך אהבת, תורה מצוות חוקים ומשפטים, אותנו לימדת. Together, wisdom and wonder, passion and instruction, story and symbol. All these things your Torah gives to us, and the more we devote ourselves to it, the more it grows and gives. What could be a truer token of your abiding love than this holiest of your works, and the living language that gives it form? Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Elokeinu Adonai Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kavod Shem Kavod Malachuto Le'olam Le'olam va'ed Le'olam Le'olam va'ed. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol lebavcha v'chol nafshecha ובכל מאותיך וחיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, וחיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
Emet. So we read together in the top of page 39. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands and marching together.
Famous David Friedman, מי כמוך, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילות עושי פלא, נורא תהילות עושי פלא. מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקעים לפני משה ומרים, שלי עמדו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם לעולם ועד, אדוני ימלוך לעולם לעולם ועד. Yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai lai. ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני,
ברוך הוא שמו,
גאל ישראל. יא לי 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 יא לי 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 יא לי 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 יא Hashkivenu, we're going to begin with the third line of Hashkivenu Ufros Aleinu. Ufros Aleinu Sokat Sokat Shlomecha Ufros Aleinu Sokat Sokat Shlomecha Yai lai 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 Yai lai 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 Yai lai 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 Yai lai 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 Yai lai 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 Yai lai 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 Ofros Aleinu Sokat Sokat Shlomecha Yai lai 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 Yai lai 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 Yai lai lai
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom. Together, let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. The middle of page 44.
Yismachu v'malachutcha Shomerei, Shomerei, Shomerei Shabbat v'korei Onech Shabbat Yismachu v'malachutcha Shomerei, Shomerei, Shomerei Shabbat v'korei Onech Shabbat Mekadesh Shavi Shabbat Kol yom yizbahu vayitangum betum v'chashabat Yismachu v'malachutcha Shomerei, Shomerei, Shomerei Shabbat v'korei Onech Shabbat Yismachu v'malachutcha Shomerei, Shomerei, Shomerei Shabbat v'korei Onech Shabbat Avashvi ratzita bo v'kiddash to Shabbat Chamadot yamim oto karata Shabbat Yismachu v'malachutcha Shomerei, Shomerei, Shomerei Shabbat v'korei Onech Shabbat Yismachu v'malachutcha Shomerei, Shomerei, Shomerei Shabbat v'korei Onech Shabbat Ze'acher l'maaseh v'reishit Shabbat Ze'acher l'maaseh v'reishit Shabbat Yismachu v'malachutcha Shomerei, Shomerei, Shomerei Shabbat v'korei Onech Shabbat Yismachu v'malachutcha Shomerei, Shomerei, Shomerei Shabbat v'korei Onech Shabbat.
Before we rise for the tefillah, truth be told, in wishing you a Shabbat Shalom, technically speaking, I should have also wished you a Chodesh Tov, a good month. So Shabbat, of course, technically speaking, doesn't arrive for at least, I think, another hour or two. So today is the first day of the month of Av. And I think you're aware of the fact that we're in this 3-week period, certainly in the traditional Jewish community, of semi-mourning, ending, of course, next Saturday night through Sunday evening with a delayed 24-hour fast of Tisha B'Av, because it coincides with Shabbat, so therefore it's delayed by 24 hours. So in contradistinction to Chodesh Adar, when, of course, those who welcome in Adar, Marbin b'simcha, our simcha is multiplied and increased. Lahavdil, on the contrary, the Talmud reminds us, Mishenechnas Av, Mama'at b'simcha. The individual, he or she, who welcomes in the month of Av, his or her joy is reduced and is diminished. And so it's within that context that before joining with Cantor, we read these words in the middle of page 47, recognizing the sense of collective grief and of anguish and of mourning that is very much present from one day to the next, once again, respectfully, in more traditional Jewish communities, but culminating, of course, with the full 25-hour fast on Tisha B'Av. Prayer invites God's presence to suffuse our spirits, God's will to prevail in our lives. Prayer may not bring water to parched fields, nor mend a broken bridge, nor rebuild a ruined city. But prayer can water an arid soul, mend a broken heart, and rebuild a weakened will. For those who are able, we rise for the tefillah.
La 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 la, la 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 la, ya 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 la 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 la. תפתח הופיעי תקילתך Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la. Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la 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 la. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elokei avoteinu ve'imoteinu Elokei Avraham, Elokei Yitzchak, Elokei Yaakov, Elokei Sarah, Elokei Rivka, Elokei Rachel, Elokei Leah, HaElech HaGadol, HaGibor v'Hanora, Elelekon, Gomelech Hasadim Tovim, וקונך הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניכם, למען שמו באחווה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם, ועזרת שרה, אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, בחייך כל אתה רב להושיע, מוריד אתה, מכלכל חיים בחסד, בחייך כל ברחמים רבים, צומח נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומידע מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישוע, ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וכל יום יכללוך הסלע, ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
Continue silently, balachash, all the way through to page 62. Those who need to be seated at this time, please feel free. And then we'll join with Cantor in a short while.
עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ויאמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ועל כל, ויאמרו אמן. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ועל כל יושבי תבל, ויאמרו אמן.
Birkat Refuah, the prayer for healing, page 253. Misha Berach Avotenu, Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Ve'imotenu, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, Leah, Hu Yivarech et Hacholim Hahim, HaKodesh Baruch Hu Yimalei Rachamim Alehem, Lachlimam Rapotam Ulahachsikam, V'yishlach Lemehira Refuah, Refuah Shleimim Min HaShamayim, Ruafat HaNefesh Uruafat HaGuf, B'toch Sha'ar Cholei Yisrael, Hashat Ba'agla, Ufisman Kariv, V'nomar. May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless and heal as this Shabbat we call to mind Barry Abrams, Cynthia Baylor, Noah Beaton, Lisa Cades, Sandy Chernow, Matt Cozen, Andy Dorfman, Sheila Evans, Benjamin Ben Kochav of Ephraim, Lou Gettys, Stuart Gettys, Brian Geiger, Eileen Green, Sean Haas, Bernie Crick, Rissel Shirabat Esther Malka Chaya, David Lieberman, Spencer Leibowitz, Rosanna Moses, Gershona Benyamina Batsorova Levi, Stan Oliver, Harvey Ostroff, Joan Ostroff, Sherry Panicelli, Vagia Partielli, Sharon Paul, Kelly Quagliotti, Rebetza David Rachmiel Ben Sarah Valevi, Cooper Roberts, Linda Scussel, Stan Tesla, Molly Tinkleman, Beverly Tisdale, Jack Velkoff, and Judy Weiss. If there are any other names that you'd like to publicly mention at this point, please feel free to do so if you would. Cheryl? Thank you very much. Linda? Thank you. Jay? Thank you. Florence? Thank you. Bev? Thank you. Ellen? Thank you. Linda? Thank you. Mark? Thank you. Rini? Thank you. Elliot? Thank you. Elise? Thank you. And of course, those of you at home, please do feel free to articulate the name or the names of loved ones that you would like to recall at this point as well. May the Blessed Holy One be filled with compassion for their health to be restored and for their strength to be revived. May God swiftly send each a refuah shlema, a complete renewal of guf, of body, and of neshama, and of soul, and let us say, Amen.
Bracha, leimotenu. of strength. Oh, bless the ones before us. Help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Nishaberach imotenu Makorach Beracha Lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with reform, Shalom, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. Okay.
Yes, I don't want to disturb or disrupt what you
Okay.
what you have on the lower bimmer there, but I think that should be good. And if just one moment, if needs be, Barry will adjust the camera so everyone can see. Is that good? Bridget, come forward. Come forward. So it really is a very, very great pleasure for Cantor and I to, that's yours, to welcome our beloved, is it working? Should. Yep, yep, put it up. There you go. Yep, should be good.
Hello. Toda.
Shalom. Erev Tov.
Erev Tov.
מה שלומך?
הכל בסדר?
הכל בסדר? יפה מאוד.
תודה.
ברוכה הבאה. We are so thrilled and we are so delighted to welcome truly a long-time veteran Bethamnik, a beloved congregant and a very dear friend to so very many of us, Bridget Dorfman, who is visiting, has been visiting from Israel since the beginning of the month. Truth be told, is returning to Israel, if I'm not mistaken, this Sunday. And just grateful that you're here tonight.
Thank
And
you.
it's wonderful to see you.
It's
It really
wonderful
is,
to be
and
here.
Thank you. And all of us, both in person and those, thank you, Barry, for, I can see you've adjusted the camera. I appreciate that. Those, of course, at home who know you and love you, salute you and thank you for being here tonight. And how could we not have taken advantage of your presence, Bridget, and asked you a couple of questions this evening on what it's been like during the past, if I'm not mistaken, approximately 10 months since you left for Israel, since you, made Aliyah
It's true.
on September the 3rd, I think was the day that you arrived, Ba'aretz. So it's hard to believe that length of time, I'm sure for you,
Oh,
no doubt.
absolutely. Yes.
I have
Time is
no-
fast and slow, just like here, and
Yeah.
it is
great.
hard to register.
Great. So I'm grateful that Bridget accepted my invitation for a casual, informal give and take, a Q&A. I have 8 questions in front of me. I'm hoping, if time permits, numbers 9 and 10 will come from you, will come from the congregation. Bridget decided not to see the questions in advance, right? So here they are, and with that, we're going to begin, if we may.
Yalla.
So yeah, so without further ado, dear Bridget, you can't look. Can you describe who and or what the catalyst, and I mean what the impetus was for wanting to make Aliyah in the first place?
Yes, that's a good question, because if mom and dad were alive, it would not be contemplated. So there had to be certain. Is this strong enough?
Try that.
Better?
I think so. Yeah, that's good.
Ooh. There were 3 factors. Mom and dad being gone, COVID making the world so topsy-turvy that it felt like if we were living on our screens, me being across an ocean didn't make as much of a difference anymore. And having a friend there to be a bit of a landing place so that I wasn't going completely like fresh off the boat, somebody help me. And then the thought process was me putting everything in my life on the scale. Because my first trip to Israel was 1991. The next time that I went...
With Betham, right?
With Betham, with Rabbi Waintrip and Marcy and a busload in Svika. And then I didn't go back for 25 years. But when Mom and Dad passed and we had a 2016 trip that was 2 weeks with our guide Julian Resnick, it was an extraordinary trip, and I felt a sense of pride and ownership and belonging there that I thought, okay, I want to get to know this place better. And then I did a volunteer trip stuffing backpacks on a military base in the winter of 2017.
Was that VFI?
Yes.
Okay.
Or Sarel.
Sorry.
And spent a little time before and after, not on a tour guide-driven bus or not on an organized trip, taking myself around. And for 10 days in Tel Aviv and 6 days in Jerusalem, I thought I can do this. This place makes sense to me. I can navigate. I don't need a guide to tell me when to get off and on the bus. And then I came on my own again June 2018, and then I started coming every 6 months. And up until that point, it was still, I just wanted to spend more time there. I didn't want to move there. That was not contemplated. But COVID and red versus blue here, and increased anti-Semitism, and the fact that I didn't have a relationship or a job holding me down here, and that I was thinking, how long is this going to be our home? If you look at our history, we pack bags and leave all the time. And when my ancestors left Russia and Ukraine and came here, they didn't have the opportunity to go to Israel. But maybe we should be exploring that opportunity now, because we can. So all of those factors, plus one more seed was planted. Somebody I follow on Instagram who was from the East Coast and moved to Israel, a young woman I don't know, posted something to the effect of, you can just try. Blew my mind. I thought it'd be saying a permanent goodbye. I thought, you know what, I can just try. I can undo it. I have an apartment's worth of stuff in Montgomeryville. I can come back and say, okay, well, that was an adventure. Didn't work for me. So why not try? Lama lo, why not?
Lama lo.
That's the convoluted answer.
So it's proved to be a grand experiment in terms of your understanding of, Jewish nationalism, of peoplehood, of wanting to connect at the deepest spiritual levels with Amcha, with your people.
That was the call. I don't know in reality. Is this question 2 or this is just follow-up to question 1?
No, actually, no, not necessarily. I've got number 2.
All right.
I
don't want to be too lengthy on
you want to hear number 2?
Part B.
So when you look back now and you reflect on, this past year, or certainly the past 10 months since your arrival in Israel, can you identify what for you was the single greatest challenge that you had?
Hebrew.
In one word. An immediate answer.
It's my occupation right now to try to get better and corral my 45-year-old brain into acquiring not just words and tenses, but flow and connecting these very short distances, hearing it and understanding it, thinking the sentence and being able to spit it out. It can be so much in your head, but still blah, 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 like not get articulated. So the confidence to do that, the fact that I feel that if I don't have the Hebrew, I will never feel truly Israeli. And the surprising, we go as tourists and you don't need Hebrew at all. They're perfectly set up in restaurants, museums, your hotel. Even if you just said hello, goodbye, please, and thank you, that's fine. But to live and feel like you're, somebody asks you for directions on the street and you go, sorry, I don't understand. Or you're trying to get to IKEA and you're having trouble, or your building management is sending you long, lengthy dispatches about the flooding in the basement, and all you see is a wall of Hebrew, and thank goodness for Google Translate, but still, you're just constantly being reminded you don't fully understand. It juvenilizes you. If a kindergartner has better Hebrew than me, and I'm used to understanding the world in English and being able to navigate it and do problem solving, it makes you intensely uncomfortable. What is this piece of mail? How do I pay my power bill? The banking, that's not set up. The tourist sector is one thing. The everyday life in Hebrew is hard.
Yeah. No, I have no doubt. Talk about Ivrit Modernit, right? So you can try and speak Yom Yom, what we, cursory Hebrew from one day to the next, right? Common parlance between one individual and another. But then, of course, living in Israel, there's another kind of Hebrew that you have to get used to, that you just mentioned right now. The technical, the mechanical, right? The business, the economic, the transactional.
How do I consume the news? How do I vote in the next election? It's all going to be in Hebrew.
Yeah.
I haven't joined a synagogue there yet because it will all be in Hebrew. So yes, it's not just and I'm learning how to say, no way, hey, seriously. I have chatty things that I can say, but it's not conversantly flowing.
But so along those lines, so I'm going to go forward from second question, because you answered immediately Ivrit Hebrew, right, to the fourth question. I know, you've been undertaking an ulpan, and a special one, if I remember correctly, is a somewhat different ulpan with a different methodology. Can you say a little bit more about that? Has it met your expectations at all?
It has been the best part of my life there, as difficult as it has been at the same time. So it's a private ulpan. It's not the 5 days a week, 5 hours a day. It's 2 times a week, 90 minutes each time, small classes, no book, no tests. Homework is voluntary. It's called Citizen Cafe. It's based in Tel Aviv. The teachers are fantastic. It's taught in English. Some of my classmates are Russian and French. Can you imagine taking a Hebrew class when you speak French and the class is being given in English? It blows my mind. And
I'm sure it's a kitab be'in lumi, I have no doubt, right?
it is not a national.
International?
Yes, it is international. In Ben Lumi, Ken. So it's conversationally based. It's uncomfortable for me because if there was a book, I'm a lawyer, give me the book and I'll go read it for an hour and I'll take a test and I'll be like, I know this, which is not accurate. It's not the way one acquires language. We play conversational hot potato. Echaya haseret, mamash matzchik. How was the movie? Very funny. And then I ask, how was the movie? Then we bounce around the room, ask him, ask her. L'cha, lach, oved, ovedet. Always conjugating.
Right.
And after 90 minutes, you've had enough. After 90 minutes, you're in a heap.
So it's kind
so
of...
that's enough. And I do the
Mashu acher.
Yeah.
It's different.
Mashu acher. I do the practice groups online, which is just more opportunities to say sentences, led by a teacher. And it's also available online. You do not have to be in Tel Aviv or anywhere in Israel to do it. I could have started it here. And if anybody wanted to brush up on Hebrew, I will tell you how to find them.
All right, so if you're interested, you can ask Bridget afterwards. But thank you for that. And good luck. Good luck as you continue further. And Bridget, so the greatest challenge. And don't be shy about this. Don't be shy. What about your greatest accomplishment to date? And don't be so humble either.
All right.
If needs be.
Let's acknowledge as a global matter, it's hard to change the country that you live in. You did it. Cantor did it. Somebody in all of our family trees did it in harder circumstances without Google Translate and credit cards and the internet. So I'm not saying it's as hard for us. It could have been harder 100 years ago or in different circumstances. Or if I was a true refugee, or a Ukrainian now going to Israel for the first time. I don't want to say like I did the hardest thing ever, but changing the country that you live in is hard. Yeah, doing it in a pandemic, that much harder. Doing it when you don't have command of the language, that much harder again. And without family or anybody that really you can attach yourself to without feeling bad about it.
Levad, yeah.
Ken levad, alone.
God bless you. You'll be interested to know that Bridget is, she's renting an apartment, what, 23rd, is it?
21st.
21st floor.
21
21st floor of a relatively newly constructed high-rise condominium in Tel Aviv. So
I saw it as a skeleton. I saw
Huh?
it being
You saw it as a
constructed
skeleton?
2 years ago. Never thought, let's live there. But it's like Manhattan real estate. You look for a month, you get very defeated. You see that everything is going to be extremely expensive and not exactly what you wanted, and then you grab, having made your peace with that, you grab what you can and make the best of it. And it's good.
I mean, literally from scratch. I know you mentioned that, right? Yeah.
Yeah, well, I bought anything with a plug. I had to buy over there. Appliances, they don't furnish appliances.
Thank God for IKEA.
IKEA is more expensive there, but they have it.
No, I have no doubt. No doubt.
That was not your question, I'm sorry.
So the reason why I mention this is because occasionally during the past many months, Bridget has been with us on Zoom for Torah studies. I think you know for the Minyan, and read from afar as well, right? Chanted from afar. And then we asked Bridget to go out with her iPhone onto her mirpeset, onto her balcony, and to show us the nof, the view, which is nothing short of extraordinary. But here's my question. What goes through your mind, Bridget Dorfman, when you consider, as you stand on your mirpeset, when you consider that stunning panorama vista?
I love the view, and I remember the first Shabbat morning that I was there in the apartment and looked out and saw the sea, and then there's sailing boats, because the marina is not far, and white boats dotted on the blue sea, and all of the city beneath me, and it felt, that was wow. That was a major moment. I'm very glad that I got the apartment that had the view. And I feel, well, it feels very real when you're when you're just looking down from your balcony at the military bases down to the left, and I can see the hospital and the art museum. I can see all of life and the highways and the buzz and the honking. It's right in the thick of it.
You know, there are apartments and there are apartments. You say, you got one here. But surely, and I mean, you really have answered it already, but I mean, just to reinforce once again, that clearly there's something unbelievably special about the view that you have from your very own dirah, from your apartment. I mean, when you consider the relatively short-lived history of Tel Aviv, right? I mean, sand dunes at the the turn of the early 20th century.
They were
and look what's
drawing
come of
lots.
it now today.
Yeah.
It's just absolutely remarkable.
There's cranes everywhere.
Right,
The entire
yeah.
city feels like a construction site. You're constantly being corralled off of the sidewalk or changing to the other side or walking under scaffolding. They're just, it's enormously tall, big, developed, yeah.
I mean, the dynamic, pulsating aspect, right, to a
Noisy,
modern,
yes.
vibrant state.
Noisy, busy, crowded, dense, yes.
Amazing. So I wanted to ask you this question. Towards the end of my remarks at a Kabbalat Shabbat service about a month ago, I suggested that the establishment of an independent sovereign state of Israel, May the 14th, 1948, not quite 75 years ago, was arguably the single most dramatic, greatest, most consequential achievement in the long history of the Jewish people. I mean, would you agree or disagree with that statement, that assessment?
I would.
And why?
Yes.
I mean, I find it hard to believe that you would disagree with it, but
I would agree because it was against all odds and probably ill-advised. And they marched out the next day against how many armies? 7?
5, if I remember correctly, right? Milchemet Yom Ha'atzmaut, 5 invading armies, right? Yeah.
Still, out of the ashes, and they've made a modern, not quite first world, not quite Western, home out of like dirt and dust. Yes,
Yeah.
I think it is that as remarkable as you say.
And so, therefore, that qualitatively, that makes Jewish life in the state of Israel necessarily and qualitatively different from any other part of the Jewish world.
Absolutely.
And that, therefore, nothing compares with it, ultimately.
To not be a minority is such a revelatory experience. For the calendar to be on Jewish time,
Yeah.
the weekend
Right.
is Friday and Saturday. It took me months to get used to that. Sunday's a work day.
Yep.
You don't have to arrange with your boss, I've got a Jewish holiday, and
Yeah.
to get permission for things.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
not the grocery stores messing up Passover and Happy Yom Kippur. Like, it's our show. Yes, it is different.
You're living, walking, breathing, talking, eating Jewish 24/7.
Yes, and yet I don't feel increased spiritualism in Tel Aviv.
Okay. Yeah.
But yes,
So-
the defining organizing principle is always our Jewishness, but not that I necessarily feel a heavenly
Yeah.
input, but just the knowledge that we are all Jewish. If I were to
Yeah.
faint on the sidewalk, or if
So-
I needed help,
Somebody would come to your
lots of
rescue
people would
immediately.
help, yes.
Here they'd probably glance the other way.
One
There, but
wonders.
for the grace of God, go on.
Yeah, you wonder. When something bad happens, there's support and people come together. When there's an attack, you don't have the FBI saying, as they did after that Texas synagogue was held hostage, we don't detect anti-Semitism. They just
Yep.
take them out.
That's right.
They just protect us.
Yep. Yep. So, along the lines of what you said previously, as Reformed Jews, you know as well as I do, that we're very much aware of the fact that there continues to be this definite animus, for want of a better word, directed towards Reform, conservative Jews, other streams of non-Orthodox Jews as
Right.
well. I mean, whether in governmental circles, rabbinical rulings, even where, when, and how we can pray at the Kotel, or as I mentioned just last Friday from the pulpit, Ezrat Yisrael, the egalitarian section. So Bridget, what's your sense of the Jewish religious polarization that exists in Jerusalem? And do you feel, as I suspect you do, that it's far less of a problem in Tel Aviv?
Yes, and there's a reason I'm not in Jerusalem, and following the Women at the Wall Instagram is enough of a reason alone to have soured me on the supposed religiosity and sacredness of Jerusalem when they, sorry for the language, spit on these women and rip their prayer books out of their hands and stomp on them. So I took the train one time from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem in the time that I've lived there to meet someone else who was in from out of town. I walked through the old city. I went to the wall. There's a combination of you feel disconnected because you know it's not a welcoming place for us. And the women's section is even more congested than the men's because women don't count.
Yeah.
And there's so many yeshiva girls, and I didn't even try to because you need to fight with your elbows to get up there. I didn't drop a note. I didn't do anything. I just said whatever prayers I said in my head and said, okay, that's fine. I've done it and left. Yes, it's moving and wonderful, and yes, it's also, there's something disgusting about it because we are being actively blocked from having that be a sacred space for us in our way. Our Judaism doesn't really count. So I feel like in Tel Aviv, where things are so secular, you can wear whatever you want. There's tattoo shops all over the place. You can, not every restaurant is kosher. If you wanted to go out for brunch on Shabbat, you could. Yes, the buses and the transit stops, but Tel Aviv is, I think, the most approachable way for me to be an Israeli, and I would not want to be elsewhere.
Yeah, so you answered the next question. Right, talking of Tel Aviv, are you happy that you've made your home there? Tell us more about what it's like to live in this remarkable city, otherwise known as the White City, because of the Bauhaus, of course, the non-stop party capital of the Middle East, I wasn't aware of this, the vegan food capital of the world.
Yes. Also, apparently, a very high incidence of dog ownership and number of haircutting chairs. I have no statistics for any of this. It's just interesting. I felt that I needed to be where things happen. It's the most active, 24/7 city. It's noisy as can be. I have my gripe list. It's long. It's, the bloom definitely came off the rose just with living there. And at the same time, I have not questioned either the making of Aliyah or moving to Tel Aviv. Maybe in the future I would want to be, like I could have gone to Herzliya, a more Anglo enclave, and not been so concerned with my Hebrew.
Yeah.
I wanted to have the real deal in the middle.
Gosh, good for
And
you.
then in a couple of years, if I say, okay, enough, let's go to the north. I need more space. It's because it's Sardini, it's crowded, yeah. But for now, this is where I should be.
Interesting. Any thoughts about what the future holds for you? Any plans, hopes that you'd still like to realize?
Oh, yes, my first year or 10 months have been very incomplete. I thought I'd be further along in building my life, and I thought a year would be a good test period. Clearly not. That was foolish. It needs more time. COVID, because you can't tell them what to do. They're party people. They will come together. They will have multiple generations together. They will be living together. They're not COVID cautious. I'm, as you can see, even now wearing the mask, very COVID cautious. So I have isolated myself more than I perhaps intended or should have, but couldn't help it, and not had as many social opportunities, or I haven't started a yoga class. I haven't found a synagogue. Other things. So I need to do that part of the life building to be happy and not just be like, well, I'm here and I might as well. It's an apartment that I could have had anywhere. I need to have more connections with people and a fuller life.
It will come, no doubt. Thank you. We have a minute or two. Thank you for those wonderful answers. I deeply appreciate that. Okay, Linda, I saw your hand raised first.
Hi.
The question, I think, was, what do you miss the most here?
So the convenience of Target, Trader Joe's, Whole Foods. Target, Trader Joe's, Whole Foods. My car, because I'm always just doing whatever I can fit in a tote bag. I'm like constantly just buying a head of cauliflower, a thing of yogurt, and then the next day. You're like always going to the market. My car is here. So it's a life on foot. It's a whole different retail landscape, but sometimes I just want the quinoa lentil chips, and things are also very expensive there. So I can have a thing of peanut butter that's like $10 or something. So I miss sort of our American spoiled convenience. And not that life here is easy, but it is more park, grab whatever you want in a cart, plastic, take it home, and then like that kind of thing. I miss baseball a little. That's about it.
Thank you. Lou, yours is the last question. Number 10, question number 10.
I'm sorry for being so lengthy.
No, thank you.
How many brand new friends do you have that you would say are really friends? I'm not talking about acquaintances, and it's not good about friends who you call to go out with or go and say, let's do this or let's do that.
So Bridget, can we, just for the benefit of those on live stream, if we can just repeat Lou's question to Bridget, to how many, chaverim or chaverot, how many friends have you made to date, and how easy has it been, as it were, to, acquire new friends?
The hardest part.
Yeah.
And this is my fault. This is my introversion. And to give you a number, 0. Friendly with people. Met people that I thought, oh, we could be friends. It doesn't always translate into connection. It's a very astute question. I can do a glass of wine with one of my classmates. They're 22. They're talking about, difficulties at work, and this guy they have a crush on. It's not. Don't have
to be a man.
No. These are girls that are, a girl, after class, the class wraps up, should we grab a glass of wine? Sure. But do I feel like it's a strong foundation like that as you're gesturing? No, not yet. Need that.
Well, my hope for you is that as you stay there, you do pick up some of your close
My hope as well. Ani mikava. I hope.
As we say, Bezrat Hashem. Bezrat Hashem. Well, we are your chaverim u'chaverot. We are your mishpacha. We are your friends and always will be, even if it has to be from afar. But it's so wonderful to have you back, albeit very shortly. We know that you're about to leave on Sunday, Nasiya Tova, V'hatzlacha Rabbah. And we know we'll be in touch. We're grateful when you're with us on Zoom. I know that occasionally you're with us on live stream, despite the difference in time. And each and every one of us, in person, and of course those on live stream, we wish you continued success in this remarkable journey that you're undertaking.
Thank you.
And you have our support, our love, our blessing, and our gratitude for what you're doing. Because very few, if any, quite frankly, could accomplish what you have already.
Well, I'm happy to do it for all of us, and I'm happy to talk about it, and I think it helps to have this understanding between the Israeli and the American identity as Jews. And everybody come visit.
So, Bridget, that's what we're going to be accomplishing this this coming year, 5783. I think that our congregants are aware of the fact. There'll be more publicity to the fact we have decided that our Israel, quote unquote, is going to be our congregational-wide theme for 5783. There'll be lots of programmatic activities and events of one kind or another. I've got something to discuss with you as well, if you don't mind.
I don't mind being recruited. I'll help, yes.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
God bless you. Thank you, Bridget. Deeply, deeply appreciate it. And without further ado, thank you very much. We are going to continue being the last Friday of the month. I could have done that. July anniversary couples. Why don't you come up? Please, if you would, at this time. And Bridget, you're getting some high fives. And July anniversary couples, please do come forward. And we're on page 263. 263. Right over here, you're more than welcome. Eileen and Elliot. Nu, welcome. Thank you for representing, by the way, a relatively large number, understandably, right, at this time of the year, of July wedding couples. If you are at home and you have celebrated your anniversary this month of July, we extend to you, our fellow Bethomniks, a very hearty Mazal Tov, the very best of continued good health to you always. I think you know what the custom is.
Oh, we've been married 33 years.
You can give her a name.
Oh,
Elliot and Eileen Simmons, 33 years. Not bad for the second time around.
no, not bad at all. Not bad at all. And by the way, before I turn to Eileen and Larry, and they've got something really special to tell you, if I'm not mistaken, this Sunday, tomorrow. Forgive me, tomorrow is a very special milestone birthday for Eileen. So in advance, hearty Mazal Tov to you. God bless you. Love you. It's amazing. Amazing. We're all a work in progress. We all are. Mazal Tov. Mazal Tov.
Arlene and Larry Mance, and as Lincoln would put it, let's say 60 years. Three score, yes. Yes. On July 3rd at 12 midnight, ended 60 years, and 12:01 on July 4th, it starts our 61st year.
Right. That's beautiful.
And when somebody says, well, how could you make 60 years? I have no idea.
Wait a minute. I better take it back before you go any further. Right? Exactly. Well, our very hearty congratulations to you as well. It's a wonderful accomplishment, and many, many more. And so together, on page 263, we are going to share these words. Source of laughter and of gladness, let your presence accompany these loving companions, pour love over them, grant them growth, each alone and together. May health and devotion, laughter and understanding abound for them. May they have the strength to share life's sorrows. May their love deepen and flower. Open their hearts to one another, and may their hands be open to family and to friends, to our people Israel, to all humanity, and to that let us all say, Amen. Amen. Eileen and Elliot, Larry and Darlene, we're going to congratulate you with a very hearty Siman Tov Mazel Tov.
Siman Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Siman Tov, Siman Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Siman Tov, Siman Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Siman Tov, Yakelano. Siman Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Siman Tov, Siman Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Siman Tov, Siman Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Siman Tov, Yakelano. Yakelando, Yakelando, Ola Kol Yisrael. 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 Put your hands together. Siman Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Siman Tov, Siman Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Siman Tov, Siman Tov, Mazel Tov, Siman Tov, Yakelanu.
Thank you, Chazan. Mazal Tov. Mans, Simmons, we're going to ask you, the four of you, please, if you would make your way to the Ark. You're welcome to open the Ark at this time. Aleinu, page 282. Again, to all of our July wedding anniversary couples, a very hearty Mazal Tov to you all. Second Hebrew paragraph, page 282.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא עשמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו ככם, וגורלנו ככל כמונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, שכון את השמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגופי מרומים, ואלוקינו עינות, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום בקשיבות אל לבביך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת עינות ונאמר בחיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמעו אחד.
Page 289. The light of life is a finite flame. Like the Shabbat candles, life is kindled. It burns, it glows. It is radiant with warmth and beauty. But soon it fades, its substance is consumed, and it is no more. In light we see, and in light we are seen. The flames dance, and our life burns down and gutters. There is an end to the flames. We see no more and are no more seen. Yet we do not despair, for we are more than a memory slowly fading into the darkness. With our lives, we give life. Something of us can never die. We move in the eternal cycle of darkness and of death, but one also of light and of life. Page 295. We think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who died at the season in years past, and those whom we have drawn into our hearts with our own. Samuel Bazilian, Martin Katz, Arlene Ellen Satz, and Barbara Wilson, who passed away during Shloshim this first month. This evening, we also call to mind past President Theodore Bauer, Blanche Blaufeld, Howard Blechman, Herschel Brill, Harry Brodsky, Hyman Buller, Ruby Burstein, Sylvia Cutler, Martin Davis, Bella Eisman, Dorothy Franks, Sylvia Friedman, Jacob Friedman, Ida Garshman, Fadel Getzik, Oscar Glasman, William Goldenberg, Claire Goldstein, Harry Goldstein, Edward Gordon, Herman Gorin, Dolores Heller, Mark Katz, Samuel Kennan, Fanny Kulik, Louis Kranzel, Louis Kurlander, Leonard Lawrence, Mary Levin, Benjamin Linkow, Samuel London, Ruth P. Lovenstein, Albert H. Albie Marcus, Arnold Molish, Leon Moscow, Edna Moyle, Ida Muchnick, Israel Nekowitz, Max Newman, Rose Pollock, Edward Rayfield, Jenny Roberts, Paul Rosenberg, Naomi Shaw, Ida Spiegel, Herman Sigmund, Harry Snyder, Sidney Seufer, Nathan Steinberg, Max Stepansky, Harry Tolchinsky, Frida Ulick, Anna Wiener, Sylvia Wiener, Stanley Weintraub, and Lisa Yahenko, whose yahrzeit occurred during the course of this past week, and all those other dear ones whom we now remember with tender affection. Together, as always, with the 6 million of our martyred brethren who perished in the Shoah, and all those who gave their lives and who continue to give their lives in defense of Medinat Yisrael, the state of Israel, and of these United States. Zichronam livracha, may all of their memories be for a blessing. Yit gadal v'yit gadash mei rabba, amen. Bioma divrach hirute v'yamlich malchute, b'chayechon u'v'yomechon, u'v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agalau fisman kariv v'yimru, amen. Yehei shmei rabba mavorach liolam ulalmei ulamaya. Yit barach v'yishtabach v'yit po'ar v'yit tramam v'yit naseh. V'yit hadar v'yit taleh v'yit halal shmei d'kudesha brichu. Leila min kol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechemata da'amiran ba'olma v'yimru, amen. Yehei shlam rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru, amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru, amen. May there be abundant peace from heaven and life for us and all Israel, to which we say amen. And may the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel, and to that let us say amen. Amen. Please be seated if you will for a moment or two. It's our pleasure now to call upon Barry to extend greetings and for this evening's announcements. Thank you, Barry.
Shabbat Shalom and a happy anniversary to all of our July lovebirds and everybody else celebrating their anniversary this month. Torah study returns to 971 Old York Road tomorrow. Join us at 9 a.m. when Linda and Barry Weinstein will lead Torah study in the TBT Chapel. Services will follow at about 10:15 with Sue Fleischman chanting Torah. If you can't join us in person, you can attend both events on Zoom. See your Friday emails for Zoom info. Or you can join Rabbi Tornberg on a Shabbat nature walk on the Pennypack Trail Meet at the parking lot next to Wheelworks Car Wash on Welsh Road at 10:30. The American Red Cross Blood Drive is coming to Beth Am on Wednesday, August the 10th from 2 to 7 p.m. We have plenty of openings for donors and could use a couple of volunteers. Contact Art Davis. Save the dates. Saturday, September the 10th from 5 to 8 p.m. for our first annual Apple Fest. There are activities for everybody of any age. There's no admission charge. We'll have food trucks, Kona ice, music, a baking contest, and more. And of course, the high holy days are coming. The good news is that this year they are not early, they're not late, but right on time. Would you like to dedicate a Bima food basket for Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, or both? Contact the office during the week for details. The first wave of High Holy Day honors letters were mailed this week. Please respond to the office by the date indicated in the letter. If we don't hear from you by that date, your honor will be assigned to someone else. Due to health considerations, honors this year are largely limited to ARC openings, so there are a lot fewer than in years past. Finally, for the past year, you've heard a lot about Shul Cloud. Recent emails have told you that Shul Cloud is not an option. Well, I'm here to tell you that it is an option, just like eating and drinking are options. Once you're in the Shul Cloud system, you can pay your temple bills, make donations, access the member directory, sign up for events, check the synagogue calendar, and read our newsletters 24/7. And most importantly, if you are planning to attend the High Holy Day services on live stream, you will only be able to access the ticketed services through your Shul Cloud account. If you're not in, be sure to call the office to sign up. A special thank you to Bridget for sharing some of her Israel story with us tonight, and we wish you safe travels on your return to Eretz Yisrael. Good Shabbos, and be excellent to each other.
For sure.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. Linda and Barry, thank you in advance for tomorrow morning. And Art, thank you, of course, for once again coordinating the blood drive. I have a very important personal question that I need to ask you, so please remind me in case I forget. Thank you. Cantor.
So in honor of our friend who is visiting from Israel, I thought that to uplift our spirits and remember what Israel is to us. So on the back of the song sheet that I gave you, there's a beautiful song that I think it's one of my favorite songs that Rick Recht wrote for us. It's the song is The Hope, and he's so clever. So look at the hold on, where's that word? Hatikva, the hope is real. Do you see that? It's so fascinating. So Hatikva, the hope is real, Israel. So you can, so it's the words are all there, and it talks about the hope of our people to be free people and live in Israel, and that's what Bridget is doing for us. So
And
hopefully,
am I right? This is a very popular song with the kids at overnight summer camp.
everywhere.
Ramah,
Yeah.
Camp Harlem,
That's
really,
right.
they all know it.
Yep.
They all know it.
And you've heard it before, so please join with me. So we're going to start with the from the beginning. This is the hope. The hope is still real. A Jewish home in Israel. This is the time we stand as one. If not now, we must be strong. Our hearts turn to the east. This is the hope that holds us together. Hatikva, the hope that will last forever. This is the hope that holds us together. Hatikva, the hope is still real. This is the hope. For 2,000 years, we pray for freedom through pain and tears. This is our faith. This is our voice. This is our promise. This is our choice. Our hearts turn to the east. Yay! This is the hope that holds us together. Hatikva, the hope that will last forever. This is the hope that holds us together. Hatikva, the hope is still real. Hatikva, the hope is real. Hatikva, Hakom Yisrael, להיות עם חופשי בארצנו, בארצנו, בארץ ציון, בירושלים, בירושלים. This is the hope that holds us together. Hatikva, the hope that will last forever. This is the hope that holds us together. Hatikva, the hope is still real. This is the hope is still real. A Jewish home in Israel. Bridget, hopefully it will become home very, very soon.
Amen. Rick Rech's the hope. Thank you, Chazan. And yep, absolutely. I mean, Bridget, as you well know, for 1,800 years, our people scattered to the ends of the earth dreamed more than anything, להיות עם חופשי בארצנו, בארץ ציון וירושלים, to be a free people in our land, in Zion and Jerusalem. You have the privilege of enacting that from one day to the next. It's a dream come true. God bless you. We love you. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat
Good Shabbos, dear
Shalom.
friends. Shabbat Shalom to all of our friends on live stream as well. We wish you a wonderful Shabbat. And if you have time for Kiddush and Motzi in the rear lobby, we'd love to meet and greet you then. Good Shabbos to you all. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.